Hey everybody, it's Dan with Pain Free You. Today's topic, fueled by fear. And so this is a very, very common thing that I encounter as I deal with everybody in the groups and on YouTube and private conversations. So before we do that, take a nice couple of deep breaths. Listen to the crickets. It's almost 7 o'clock here. Sun's about to set. Breathe in the knowledge. Breathe out the skepticism and doubt. Breathe in the confidence. Exhale the fear. Breathe in the peace. Exhale the noise and the static. Alright, so today's topic is going to be fueled by fear. And it is absolutely true that the more afraid you are of your symptoms and what it means about your life, the more you freak out, the more anxious you are, the more you focus on the symptoms and the pains. And look, it makes complete sense. When we're afraid, let's say we're afraid in real life, and we're walking through the woods and there's a bear. This is the same bear, he keeps showing up in all my videos. But let's say you're walking through the woods and you see a bear and you're not sure what he's going to do. Are you going to just turn around and go back to camping? Or are you going to not take your eyes off of the bear, right? You're going to be locked in. And so that's a very natural, normal response as it relates to things we're afraid of. Why would we turn away from something we're afraid of? But at the same time, that's a very useful way to communicate the message that you're actually not in danger, because you are turning away from this thing that up until now you have been afraid of and unable to look away from. And that message is received by the brain. That's why I talked about it in the indifference and how it rewires the brain, is because literally, if there's something that you were previously afraid of, like the pain or the symptoms, what if it gets worse, right? And you choose to turn away from it and get into a positive emotional state like joy or happiness or engagement in life, like really just diving into whatever you were involved in and not staring intently at the pain and the symptoms with freak out, the message that you're sending to the brain is you're actually okay. This is not dangerous. This is not a big deal. Why? Because you're able to shift your life, or shift your attention back to living your life and actually having some fun. So, fueled by fear. These symptoms are absolutely fueled by fear. Excuse me. And anytime I point that out, I get people commenting back to me, Dan, you're right. When I freak out and when I just am so anxious and worried about it, yeah, everything gets worse. All the symptoms get worse, everything else. And look, this is a stress response in the body. It's a distraction from our negative emotions. It's, a highly sensitized nervous system. And, fear just increases the adrenaline and cortisol. And when you have more adrenaline, what does that do with the nervous system? It amplifies it. So the whole TMS thing, this whole mind-body thing, is fueled by fear and also attention. And if you can learn through accurate knowledge an assessment that makes this personal for you to say, you know what, this is what's going on for me. So accurate knowledge plus the assessment and acceptance that this is what's going on for me allows you to turn down the fear and the anxiety and the worries. Why? Because you actually know in your heart that I'm not broken. When you can turn down that fear, you can choose to shift your attention away from these symptoms. And by doing that, guess what happens? taking the fuel away from the symptoms. You're taking the fuel away from this thing called TMS. You're taking the fuel away from it. What happens when you take fuel away from a fire? It burns out. Sometimes it takes a little longer than others, but the sooner you can, with accurate knowledge, logical, rational thinking, not your fear-based thinking that's, oh my God, I'm freaking out, but with your logical, rational, thinking brain, decide that I know what this TMS mind-body syndrome thing is, and I know with certainty that that applies to me, so I know with certainty that when I turn down the fear and shift my attention away through indifference, I will get better. It's proven. It works over and over and over again. Watch the comments in these videos, YouTube, Facebook, over and over and over again. People will have better days when the fear is not as high. That's a sign. That's also a really good indicator of what to do on a regular basis. Because if it worked for a day but then the pain came back, that doesn't mean you're screwed. It doesn't mean this isn't working. That was just evidence that it does work. And I don't know what my neighbor's doing. Sorry about the noise. So, this whole thing is fueled by fear. And I'm not saying for you to tell yourself not to be afraid if there's something legitimately harmful. But when you know what TMS is and you know that that's what is truly causing your symptoms, there's nothing to be afraid of, really. So embrace that. Embrace the knowledge to turn down the fear. And then with conscious decision, shift your attention away from the symptoms, because it's going to be hard for these neural pathways to let go if you're constantly using them by focusing on the symptoms and the pains all day long. So not much more to say about that. It is fueled by fear, and I'm not telling you don't be afraid. Knowledge, assessment, acceptance, that's where you know deeply that you're okay. And if you don't know if you're okay and you still think it's physical, spend some time gaining a little bit more knowledge. Understand what's going on. Try to figure out why you're stuck, why you're still on the fence, right? There's a fence right here. Why are you still sitting on that fence saying, I think it's TMS, but it might be physical, right? As I've said before, if you think it's physical, your brain's listening, and it's always going to default to protecting you from hurting yourself further with the physical problem, so it's going to give you pain to stop you from doing whatever movement or sitting or driving or whatever thing tends to cause your pain to go up. So you got to get off that fence. Look at that. It's not comfortable sitting on that fence. It's really not. And it totally does not help you. It only keeps you stuck. So, if you're still not sure if it's TMS, most important thing you can do is figure that out. Figure that out. Go back to knowledge. Read the books again. Watch my video at painforyou.com. Do the assessment. There's several of them. They're at the in the announcement on the Pain for You private group. And I think there's some of them listed in the descriptions of the YouTube videos. So listen, when you turn down the fear and shift your focus away, you're taking fear and attention away from the symptoms, and that's the fuel, so the fire will burn out. And you can go back to living your life and starting to have some fun. So, with that, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys and gals. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya.